Dr. Lakshmi Jagannathan is the Chief Executive Officer at Derby Foundation, a super mentor for AIM iCrest, mentor of change at Atal Tinkering Labs, a charter member at TIE Bangalore, and a member of ISBA Governing Board. A professional in the not-for-profit industry with more than a decade of experience, her interest and expertise lies in leveraging technology to build interventions that create impact and can be scaled faster. Dr. Lakshmi resonates that tech for the masses at the bottom of the pyramid would be a game changer for society at large. She has been instrumental in setting up the entrepreneurship ecosystem at Dayanand Sagar institutions and scaling it up from strength to build Derby Foundation as a sustainable healthcare-focused incubator in India. Dr. Lakshmi, welcome. I'm so excited to speak with you today.
Dhruti, thank you for the kind introduction. Pleasure is mine as well.
So, Dr. Lakshmi, what has been your journey so far? You achieved so much. If you could just sum it up in a few minutes, what would that look like for us?
I think it's been a very good roller coaster ride. Last, I would say, close to 3 decades. See, I have been having a mix of both corporate and academic experience as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I always believe in having a very good work-life balance. So what used to happen was whenever my husband found a new opportunity in a new city, he moved along and we as family moved along. So I used to find something interesting for me also to keep professionally occupied, which has also paid good dividends on both sides. So I've been with the Dayanand Sagar group close to about, this is my 18th year. So started as an academic exercise, started as an entrepreneurship cell. Maybe we'll talk a little more detail on that. I think from there is what sprung an opportunity to run the incubation program, set up the incubator, and I think there's been no looking back from there.
Absolutely. And so much that you've done in the last 30 years. And you mentioned that you've been associated with Dayanand Institution for 18 plus years, right? And so what does that look like for you? Because I believe a lot of your interactions with entrepreneurs, yourself taking a bit of a plunge into what the field looks like, happened there. So what does that look like for you?
2008-9, when I used to head the MBA program, we started an entrepreneurship cell because we thought entrepreneurship could also be another element which will make the MBA students more rounded.
Yeah.
But that spread like wildfire across the campus. A lot of engineering students started getting interested. Then I started mentoring them to build prototypes, brought in industry. And we got a first funded program from DST to run a center to support student entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
See, I come from an entrepreneurship background. My father's been an entrepreneur. So maybe that bug in me always kept questioning, how do I make it self-sustainable even as a center?
Yeah.
So the first grant I got was from Government of India, Department of Science and Technology, where they used to encourage students to become innovators and maybe explore an opportunity of a startup around the innovation.
Mm-hmm.
So it was called IEDC those days, Innovation Entrepreneurship Development Center. So we started with that in 2007-8, and I think supported a lot of students to build prototypes, validate, brought in industry mentors to mentor them. It was really, really exciting. Because advantages when you work with people who are half your age also becomes half and your thinking power exponentially doubles. So that was a big advantage. I would say always working with innovators, right?
Yes.
So that is how I think we did very well in 2014. DST said, you've done a very good job. Maybe you should set up an incubator. So 2015 is where we incorporated Derby Foundation as an independent Section 8 company within the Dayanand Sagar group. Though we say it is an independent entity, I mean, it has to be really run as an independent entity, in terms of financial, legal, statutory, getting funding. So Derby in a way is also my startup, though we started in terms of building it and scaling it up. So it's been an amazing journey so far.
Absolutely. And, having started that from scratch in a way, right? Because
Absolutely.
I think it evolved out of an experiment per se.
Yeah.
You tried something new, you took the risk and you moved on from there. What were some of the challenges that you faced?
See, first of all, Dhruti, even when I had to maybe give up, I would say, little comfortable job of running an academic program to running an incubator, it was a huge risk. I had to come out of my comfort zone and say, let me plunge into this. And but I had to pursue it, our management to say, I will give up my head of the department position, come away from academics. I think last 15 years, I've not been into academics and doing this full time. So that is a big risk which I took, right?
Yeah.
And I would say, see, 2013-14, when we wrote the proposal to set up the incubator, I was an absolute novice in the whole environment. I had no clue what does TBI stand for. That is Technology Business Incubator. But I think somewhere we should be open to learning. You know, I said I would always say I still roam with an elbow. If you are ready to learn, unlearn, relearn. No? But then I think the risks are, one is incubation, as we talk now, is still a emerging industry in the country.
Yeah.
So many things are not known in terms of the strategies. Even last 2 days back, there was a mega conference of all the incubators across the country called ISBACon. ISBA is a incubator association, where we have about 400 incubation professionals across the country as its members. So it happened in Mumbai 2 days back. And one of the biggest theme there, the discussion was around how to build sustainable incubators. Because most of the incubators start with the government funding, but how to, once the funding is over, now how to build a sustainable model. Yeah. So I think that is a biggest risk all of us face. But then if you are able to prove and take it forward, I think there are ways of exploring. So I think one of the risks I would say, Dhruti, is this is a ecosystem where you should be ready to learn always.
And I'm hearing that as a recurring theme, right? Because even when you said that you're working with people who are half your age, and you're interacting with them, the energy just kind of doubles in you, right? And progress improves as well, for sure. So while you were facing these challenges and while you were embarking on, an unknown journey in a sense, because you did not know where it would lead essentially, and clearly you had it in you to say that, okay, come what may, I'm going to face the challenges head on and I'm going to overcome them. So how did you go about that? Like, what kind of practices did you have in place, or what kind of mindset did you have in place in order to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I think one thing, what I always tell even youngsters today is, even for a seedling to grow into a tree, your root should be firm. Yeah. So maybe I've been part of this group for quite some time, and I've got the confidence of the management say, yes, she can deliver. Mm-hmm. And by God's grace, I've been delivering from time to time on whatever I've committed. So the support from the management in terms of what needs to be done was phenomenal in terms of way we have done. Incubator, I always say, Incubator is a platform where we support startups, right? Startups essentially run in a 6th or 7th gear. They're pretty fast. So incubators, which are housed on academic campuses, have to match up to their speed, have to be agile, have to be robust, quick decision making to support startups. So that way, this freedom given in the institution has really enabled me to do things a lot more and much faster. Another thing also which really helped me was, I think we have a very strong advisory board. In fact, some of the Thai charter members are also there on our board.
Yeah.
And if you see our advisory board, only I am there from the Dayanand Sagar background. So the rest of all the members are from outside. The basic premise is that when we bring in an advisory board, we are here to learn from you in terms of what direction should we move in. Right? So that has really helped us, because we have people from corporates, people from investment backgrounds, who've been telling us, this is what you should be doing, this should be your focus area, this is how you sustain. For example, 2015, when we started, we were a sector agnostic incubator. Every quarter, the advisory board meets, right? So 2017, when we had a board meeting, one of the first questions which came was, how can Derby be different?
Yeah.
See, everybody says it's very easy to run an incubator in Bangalore. I would totally disagree. Because Bangalore is a crowded space. Yeah, there are more than 100 incubators in Bangalore, right? All of us fight for the same startup.
True.
Yeah, right. So being in Bangalore, how do you build a USP for yourself was a big challenge. Then we introspected as a institution, what can Dayanand Sagar bring into the startups? See, predominantly in incubators, we get very, very early stage startups, right?
Yeah.
Most of these startups want a fertile ground for validating their innovation.
Yeah.
And if Dayanand Sagar could offer a fertile ground, maybe one could be for EdTech, that is on education. Other one could be on healthcare.
Correct.
And education, by default, every incubator in India is almost housed in an academic campus. So there was no USP there. So we said we will do healthcare. In spite of knowing that healthcare is a long haul, hugely regulated, we said we will do healthcare. So I think this the incubation, what we have done, that's really helped us a lot.
Absolutely. So what I'm hearing a lot is that, you remained agile, you remained nimble in that sense, and you kept asking yourself those difficult questions in order to keep moving forward, right? And most
Absolutely,
importantly, what
absolutely.
you highlighted was having an ecosystem. In your case, it was your advisory board, right? That would challenge you, that would think maybe drastically different than what you would think, right? And would give you a new
Absolutely.
perspective in how things would work. And I think that really helps you overcome those challenges as well in that sense, because you remain open minded as a result of that, right? So I think it's about creating that ecosystem around you that helps you flourish.
Absolutely, because you're bang on. Because after every advisory board meeting, once they say do this, then I come back and say, oh my God, where am I going to go now? Then again, you pull up your socks and say, yeah, this is maybe what I should be doing. That is one. And maybe some another thing also which has helped me is I'm more of a people person. So connect to people fast. And I honestly believe that incubators should be boundaryless organization. Seamlessly work with everybody in the ecosystem, make it happen for startups.
Very true. Because I think that's where we kind of leverage the power of collective wisdom.
Absolutely.
Rather than saying that I'm the expert and I know everything, I think sometimes it's important to put the self aside and look at what you have around you, and kind of garner the resources that you have and leverage them to the hilt.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. So have you had any, as I say, mantra of success per se that has helped you keep going? And, I also saw that on your cup it says radiate positivity that keeps you in that mindset.
First of all, thank you so much for acknowledging to some extent that I'm successful. But on a humble side, I think there's a long way to go, right? And being humble always helps. See, I think I'm ready to accept saying I don't know, ready to assimilate and learn from others. And I think that is one thing which has really, really helped. And I'm never ashamed of asking help from anybody. I think that's really helped.
Yeah. And can you share one example where you actually asked for help, for that support that helped you successfully pivot or maybe led to something which was of a greater magnitude than what you could have even imagined?
See, two things I tell you. See, one is when we wrote the incubation proposal in 2014. As I told you, I think it took me 6 months to write the proposal because I had no clue what is an incubator, what
Yeah.
are the dynamics of running an incubator. Starting from the financial projections, which included a security guard salary to the CEO salary, to the strategic focus area, to the training programs, to what kind of startups, a whole lot of things had to be filled in.
Yeah.
So after doing the proposal, what I did was I reached out about 6 people whom I knew in the ecosystem. Some were entrepreneurs, some were running incubation centers, some were mentoring startups in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
I told them I've written a draft proposal. Can you take time, help me go? Can you go through the proposal? Give me your candid feedback. So I sent this to them, sent the draft proposal to them, gave them a week's time, then got back to them to get their candid feedback of this is okay or give me your feedback. I'm ready to improvise and learn.
Yeah.
By that time, I already had a PhD in management, but I said that is different, this is different, right? So that is one thing. Second instance is every time, as I said, when we go to the board, they said this is what you should be doing. See, even when we were doing a sector agnostic incubation, I think every time when we do a call for application, we used to get that is about 1:10 ratio of startups to apply. But when they said you should do healthcare, it was a totally alienated area, no? Because you have to reach out to hospitals, reach out to
Yeah.
doctors, reach out to clinicians. But I said it's a good challenge to work on and good heads on. I think I always say when there's a bull approaching you, hold it by horn. That's the best way to tackle it.
Absolutely. So, we most of us today are aware of the what and the why of it. Sometimes we get lost in the details. So, if I may ask, you said that you reached out to about 6 people that could help you fine tune and challenge you maybe in terms of where you're headed. So, did you have like a selection criteria in mind when you were thinking of creating your own advisory board that would help you move forward? How did you select those 6 people, if I may ask?
No, these 6 people whom I mentioned was people in the ecosystem who are not part of our board.
Right.
They helped us fine tune the proposal, right? So
Correct.
when we brought in the advisory board, I think one biggest thing we've done was the chairman of our advisory board is a man of real eminence in the society at large, across Bangalore, across Karnataka, very well known. in whom our management also has all the confidence. So
Okay.
immediately they say, oh, Mr. Vidyashankar has said, then go ahead. So that makes things very easy for me because that cuts a lot of bureaucracy into the system. So things happen with a click of a button through a mail.
Right.
Then slowly what happened, we brought in 1 or 2 people into the advisory board. Then they worked with us for 1 or 2 months. Then they said, oh, this is what is Derby doing. I will refer more of my friends who can maybe add value to what you're doing. That is how we slowly, organically build the board.
Right. The power of network.
Absolutely. And it's an absolutely pro bono board. So people are wanting to contribute and support us in what we're trying to do.
That is amazing to hear.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Lakshmi, to bring our conversation to a very positive close, I would want to ask you this. If there was one message that you had to give to the entrepreneurs who are listening to this, what would that be?
I think if you believe in yourself, the sky is the limit.
Absolutely.
Anything is possible here. I think there'll be hundreds of people who say this is not possible. But if you believe in yourself, anything is possible. And there are people around you to make things possible for you. You're not alone in the journey.
Yes. I so agree and resonate with that because so many entrepreneurs fail to somehow acknowledge this, that you're not alone. And
Absolutely.
Believing in yourself will give you the push that you need in order to just move forward. And in your words, to, catch the bull by its horn and just go for what you truly believe in.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lakshmi. It's been a very enlightening conversation, and it's been great to know you a little bit better through this. I really appreciate you taking the time for this.
Thank you, Dhruti. Wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.